Yeah, I actually wanted to do a video kind of to an individual here by the name of what's his name, On Point on the Grind. I actually wanted to do a video kind of put my 2 cents in on a situation here that I've actually noticed as far as some conversations that you've been having. And I know this is not an old video, but it's actually kind of like maybe a little over a month old, or maybe it was a video that was actually done last month here. And I just wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in because I can pretty much, for the most part, identify with some of the issues that you're having with some of the viewers here that is subscribed to everybody's favorite YouTube personality, which is JLove47. I actually didn't want to actually do a video until I actually looked at a couple of your videos in response to him and the beef, or I shouldn't use the word beef, but some of the misunderstandings, I should say, that actually transpired between you two over the course of you two conversing with each other over your YouTube, not YouTube, but your Yahoo instant messaging system, or whatever it is that you all were having. And pretty much for the most part, when I was actually going back and listening to your videos and actually listening or looking at some of the comments that was actually left with some of the viewers or what have you, you know, I actually laughed and actually kind of held my head down and kind of shame a little bit, because I remember what that felt like. It wasn't long ago where actually there was some type of issue that was going on between J-Love and me, basically where I was doing the same thing that you was doing, posting videos back to J-Love of some of the one-sided views that he would have on some of the things that he would say about the black race, most notably light-skinned blacks. And pretty much after, you know, doing all of this back and forth with posting videos and such, you know, I actually came to a point in my mind where I was like, this is not going to solve anything. Pretty much the only thing that I actually wanted to sit down and actually kind of bring across to you this afternoon, or, you know, this evening, or whatever the case may be, is that you have to know when to kind of draw the line, and just kind of where, you know, you need to say, you know what, enough is enough. And I think you've already done that, but I'm actually just kind of just coming in after the fact and actually posting my 2 cents in there, which I know, you know, is kind of weird to do, but I just figured that I actually do that because I can identify with what you went through with J-Love. Pretty much my issue with him, and my beef, if you want to call it that, with him actually started pretty much the same way yours did. The only difference is that I did not actually have him instant messaging me on Yahoo. Pretty much the only thing I would do is I would converse with him through YouTube, where I would send him emails, you know, and just on different topics or points of interest on how, you know, he should actually kind of refrain from using certain things, where, because it can actually upset people, you know, and actually kind of offer maybe a different way of expressing his opinions and thoughts on different things. But of course, you know, and I'm sure that you realize that when you actually, you know, kind of voiced your opinion and actually give him constructive criticism on how he should kind of think about what he say before he posts it, that's when the issue actually starts, and that's where the real fireworks begin, because basically he does not know how to communicate with people, or I should say with adults, on an intelligent level. Pretty much when I looked at the comments of the people that was actually leaving, you know, little ignorant comments or whatever on your post in your response to some of the things that he would say, it didn't surprise me, because basically I've heard the same thing. I've been, you know, told the same thing, and pretty much all those comments that were left on your page is pretty much something that was already left on mine too. So basically, you know, it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, looks like, you know, J-Love may have another fan, not, I shouldn't say a fan, but another person that he's at odds with, because they refuse to think the way he does, or refuse to bend down and actually look at themselves as being not part of the African American race. And basically with that, you know, it's like, it's kind of difficult to kind of insult him. And I actually, and for some people they may say, you know what, it's not difficult at all, I can just go ahead and tell him what I think of him. And actually I've actually did that. I actually been to that crossroad and actually know what that means, you know, to actually think of something, you know, and want to actually jump at it and actually rip it from shreds and tell this person what you really think about it. But in the end, you have to look past all of that, of what he spits out as truth, and look at the real issue of what's going on here. He is a person that's very insecure. And basically, it didn't actually take me that long to actually come up with that assessment, because basically I pretty much knew that's what it was all about from the first couple of times me and him conversed on YouTube. You know, I came across his videos and his posts or what have you just by going through YouTube and just typing up, you know, just sitting back and enjoying and trying to just look at what's popping on YouTube. And actually, I ran across one of his videos. And, you know, what drawed me to him the first time is that, you know, he said some stuff, you know, that kind of made a little bit of sense, you know, about, you know, how, you know, some black people act. And basically, that's what kind of got my ear turned to listening to him. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way. I never subscribed to him. You know, because one thing about it is that I don't subscribe to anybody unless I sit there and listen to a couple of their videos over a time period and determine whether or not I would want to actually listen to anything that they have to say, or if they have anything that's worth listening to. Now, even though I would go and look at his videos, I would look at it for pure entertainment. As I've stated many times before in some of my past videos, if you have a chance to view them, you're more than welcome to view them. They're on my homepage. I'm not going to take them down. And basically, again, I would look at him for pure entertainment and basically to see what type of mind frame he has. And basically, I would actually kind of test him and kind of try to see where he stands on different points of view. Not to the point where I would actually bend down and actually want to engage in verbal insults, which is, of course, something that he at that time was known for doing, you know, but the fact about it, I just wanted to see where his thought process was on different various or different topics of interest as it relates to the black community. Now, I know that you said that you would refrain from using, you know, or talking about topics that pertain to African Americans, such as black women, you know, interracial relationships and all this type of stuff. Well, I'm free to talk about that because basically, number one, you know, he doesn't scare me. And basically, like I said, you know, I will be more than happy to engage in an intelligent conversation. But see, one thing about it is that it's hard to do that with him during that time period because of the mind frame. And see, one thing about it is that I would try to talk to him on a mature level, but yet still he would not know how to do that because all he would think on is, you know, of somebody's trying to insult him just because they don't see things as he sees it. And one thing about it is that when you're trying to talk to somebody that has a limited mind frame, you would expect for them to actually sound ignorant in some things because basically they haven't really matured. They haven't really learned what, you know, their topic or what, in this case, the black community is all about. Sure, he sits there and says that, you know, he wants to, you know, educate the black community, make them a better race or whatever that's supposed to mean. But basically, you know, what is it that he can give that would actually complement or actually uplift the black community other than using those profanity and using, you know, words that really don't mean anything? You know, in his videos, and I've actually made this assessment and I brought this to his face many times before, is that what makes you the overall approving authority on how blacks are supposed to live? That's all I wanted to know. But for some reason, I could never get that question answered. If I could have gotten that question answered from him a long time ago, I would have said, okay, you know what? I've gotten my question answered. Now I'm not going to say anything else, and I'm going to let him be. But I would keep, you know, doing like you would do, returning videos, you know, email responses or what have you, until, you know, trying to get to where he's getting his information from. Now, he would come across and say that his information is fact, but I'm here to tell you, as I'm pretty sure you've discovered, that a lot of it is just his biased opinions that he tries to bring across to the YouTube community as fact. And basically, you know, I've called him out on that many times. I actually offered to engage in a verbal, civil conversation, with him regarding that type of information or, you know, that type of discussion. And of course, he would not do that because the only thing he would normally do is, for the first part, jump off the deep end by calling me 4-letter words. And basically, I'm like, okay, now, you know, I wanted to talk to you, but now I've lost interest because now you don't know how to conduct yourself as an adult. You know, the fact about it is that the reason why the black community gets clowned on the way we do is because the white folks look at how we treat each other. And basically, the way they see us treat each other, that's how they're going to treat us. And basically, you know, they're laughing because they're looking at a race that cannot get along. And basically, this is the message that I've been trying to get across on YouTube to this fella here. But for some reason, at least a couple of months ago, the last time when I had exchanged to him, this is the message that I was trying to get across to him. But for some reason, you know, he wants to look at the fact that, you know, I'm, you know, a product of whitey, you know, just because I'm a light-skinned black person, I am not really a black person. And I'm like, well, how do you make that assessment? Because in America, when I go to look for a job, when I go stand in line, when I'm in the grocery store, I'm seen as another black person. Sure, nobody is pure white, nobody is pure black, nobody is pure anything. I don't care how dark you are. Everybody is mixed with a little something something, because basically back in the time when all this of slavery, when you're having all of these things that's happening where white men are raping the black women, and and other things going on, intermingling and what have you, you would have a product of a child that's of a mixed race. Now you do have some blacks that are, you can actually see, that they are mixed. And then you also have some blacks that are very dark, but of course, again, they're not pure black because, again, of the mixing factor. But see, one thing about it is that the ignorant part of his thinking will cause him to just look at a person and make an assessment on that person, not really taking the time to research and look and read a book to find out, the truth about what he's saying. And basically, because of that, he comes up with the assessment that me personally, he's called me many things. And, I'm not going to sit here and say some of the things that he called me because basically that's irrelevant. But the fact about it is that he does not look at me as a black person. Although I had to put him in his place many times before, and this was off camera through, emails or what have you, and tell him, look, just because you don't see me as a black person does not mean that I'm not black. I don't have to explain my position and my race to you or anybody else up in here. But see, one thing about it is that when you start to talk to him on an adult level, he gets all offensive. He does not know how to communicate on an adult level because he has yet to learn what that's all about. His main part and his main issue as to reason why he can't get along with certain people is because he has yet to learn how to craft his words. I've sent videos many times to him about learning the importance of how to speak and how to speak with a purpose. See, he's the type of person that likes to, likes the attention of subscribers. And basically, it's like he's an attention whore. Now, if you're going to go through that many links and actually downgrade and actually call people out 4-letter words or what have you, just for the sake of actually maintaining your YouTube status, then you go right ahead. I'll let you have yours. You got this. But see, me, I have class. And see, when I turn off this computer screen, I have to look at myself in the mirror every day to see and just to question what have I done. But see, one thing about it is that if you don't have that adult mind to think that way, then of course I wouldn't expect for you to think that way. And see, one thing about it is that when you have a childish mind, it's not going to think that way. Because the only thing that he's interested in is, of course, his celebrity status here on YouTube. One thing about it, and I've posted many times in my videos, I'm not about, subscribers. If I get them, that's fine. If I don't, that's fine too. But one thing about it is that if I do get subscribers, I'm going to still stay the same person that I am from day one when I first started posting videos. And see, just because he's partner, and maybe a part of that requirement is that he, posts a certain number of videos each week or whatever, that doesn't mean that he has to actually engage in verbal altercations with people just to maintain views. And see, one thing about it, that if we want to go and start him, I've already been offered a partnership with YouTube, but I have yet to actually do that, because to me it's like, why would I want to do that, and waste time and energy having to maintain a set schedule just for pennies? If I'm going to do something, I want to actually make it mean something. Yeah, you can get paid or whatever, but I want to actually make it mean something for me, where it won't be a struggle for me to have to get up and do it. Because I'm not the type of person where it will actually get up almost every day or whatever, or every 2 days and post a video. That's not me. Maybe it once was when I first joined YouTube, but now that I've kind of know what YouTube is all about and can kind of infiltrate it into my working schedule or my outside life, I don't have the time to actually sit here in front of a computer screen and post something almost every other day, or every day for that matter. I just don't have the energy to want, or the desire to want to do that. I only post videos when I see something that really interests me, or when I really want to deliver something to someone, or deliver a topic that I think that YouTube should know about. But going back to the issue with Mr. J Love here, is that he has a very big superiority complex. And it's like, and he's not an humble person. He's very young and dumb. If you look on some of my my videos that I've posted in the past, you will actually run across a couple of videos where me and him actually had it out on YouTube. Just like you and he just did a month ago about, his lack of maturity, from a lack of a better word. And pretty much the same thing that you noticed on your videos, a lot of them got, thumbs down or whatever. And pretty much I didn't care. And I still don't care. And I actually had one of his subscribers actually come to me and actually email me and ask me to take the video down. And I told him I will not do that because, number one, that would be pretty much giving in to what he wants. And I refuse to do that. The video stays as long as I want them to stay. So I told him you can get whatever, you can go back to your little master and tell him, if he sent you to ask me to take it down, tell him I'm not going to do it. So basically, and basically the reason why I'm responding and actually posting a video to yours is because I know what that's like. And basically, it's comical, but it's more sad than it's actually comical, because basically you look at a young fella and you see that, he's trying to influence change, but he doesn't really know how to do it. He's trying to influence people to think of themselves as being, undeserving. And how in the world can you actually promote unity when you try to get people to think of themselves as being undeserving, or, not being capable of being something? The only thing that he actually speaks about is summing up his speeches is that he tries to get blacks to think of themselves as being less capable and as being weak and as being inferior to white folks. And basically, I told him many times, that type of thinking is in the state of mind. When you can get somebody to think of themselves as being weak or, being less capable than another race, then you've got them. And I say the reason why me and you are actually having this beef is because I refuse to think of myself as being under somebody's foot. I've been through a lot of things in my life, not so much bad things, but a lot of accomplishments that I've accomplished in my life where it would be an insult to me to downplay my success just to boost somebody else's ego, which of course including his. I refuse to do that, and I've said that in a video many times. I'm not going to sit there and lower myself just because of, he wanting to think of himself as being over me. Screw you. That's the way I see it. Why in the world would I want to sit there and downplay my success just so somebody else can feel better about themselves? If anybody actually caves in and do that, I will actually jump across this floor right here, do flips or whatever, and ask them, what the hell are you doing? What are you thinking? It's already bad enough we're being clowned by people that are not in our race because they're looking in and seeing how we can't get along. And the reason why we can't get along is because you have people who are just dogmatic in their opinions as far as how to keep up separation. You say that you want unity, but yet still what you speak of is completely opposite. When I would talk in that type of maturity, when I would use that type of tone, when I would come at him on an adult level like that, he doesn't know how to respond because all he's used to is being attacked by people. When you're used to being attacked by people, when somebody tries to show you love or whatever, you're not going to know how to do it because basically you're going to be like, what's going on here? This is something I'm not used to. And of course he runs to his usual place and hide behind a rock and throw insults. What a way to be, or I should say, what a way to make yourself known here on YouTube. And almost everybody that I see has at some point in time have had some type of run-in with J Love. And it's so amazing, it's like you can just mention a YouTube name or whatever, and then you Google it or do your search or whatever, and you'll probably more than likely find some video somewhere along the line where they may have addressed J Love on something that he said where he's talked completely out of his left butt cheek, which is what he's known for. He's notorious here on YouTube. He's very well known, but not so much in a good way. The only people that may like his stuff is the ones that think like him. So it really, is a shame that you have people that are on YouTube like this. Of course, you had your people threatening you that, they'll go and complain to YouTube that they'll have your video taken away. Well, you know what? Same thing here. If they find something that I said as offensive in my my video log or vlog, then you know what? Do what you got to do. But that's not going to stop me because all it's going to do is make me come back 10 times as harder. And you're not going to like what I have to say when I track you down because then all the gloves are off and I'm going in on the jugular. But one thing about it is I try to refrain from that. I try to be mature. I try to be friendly. I try to be compassionate. I try to be all these things. But with some people, some black folk, you can't be that way because all they know is how to run and fight because that's all they've been used to because they don't know how to portray love or show love or be a friend to somebody. So, you know, I just wanted to kind of make this video here just to kind of let you know I know where you're coming from. I've been through what you've been through. And it's so interesting to note as well, you know, is that when we started, you know, conversing and, you know, sending videos back and forth about each other, even though I would disagree with some of the things that he would say, I would bring it to him in a classy manner. You know, he, you know, subscribed to me, which was a big surprise to me because I'm like, okay, I disagree with this fella. Why in the world would he want to subscribe to me? But I remember there was a video that I looked at yours, I think it was yours, where, you know, you were saying something along the lines where, or somebody, I don't know if it was a viewer or somebody that posted to one of your videos, or maybe it was you, I don't know. But there was like, you will have some of his subscribers that would actually subscribe to you just so they can keep the beef going. Meaning that they would look at a video and see if you mention his name, and then they would go back and tell him so he can look at the video so he can have something to say to you. And see, one thing about it, I don't know if that was the reason why he subscribed to me or whatever, just to keep tabs to see what I would say, if I would say anything about him. But the funny thing about it is that when I actually went in on him and actually told him about himself, of course, in a classy manner, I didn't use any four-letter words, which he does many times. I didn't call him out his name. I didn't even refer to his sexuality. All I did was I went in and told him what the deal was, and this is how things are, and this is how you are, even though you say you're not that way. And as soon as I done that, he removed his subscription. So you tell me, what does that tell you about him? He can't take it. He can dish it out, but he can't take it. Those type of people is not really worth wasting your time on. It's not really worth you even sitting up there posting a video towards. Because basically, it's like, once you defeat them, they run back, and they know they've been defeated now, because the MO for this particular individual is that once he feels that you've overtaken him, he'll go back and post videos about how he owns you and all this other crazy stuff. I've seen it. It's happened to me. View some of his videos, searches or whatever, and you will actually see that he did it to me too. But yet still, it still didn't mean anything, because basically I still came out on top, because number one, I didn't insult him. I did my stuff with class. And that's the way that you actually face ignorance. You do it with class. So, I mean, if he's changed, you know, nowadays with how he posts his videos, that's fine. I hope he has. But like I say, based on the conversation that I see that you all have had, I guess, during your June posting of this video, and of course, with some of the subscribers that, you know, left little ignorant comments on your post, I would say that he's probably up to his old tricks. You know, again, you know, he unsubscribed, and, you know, and basically he blocked me. And again, you know, and that's fine, because I laugh, because it lets me know he could not handle me. So basically, you know, it doesn't matter what he says or how he brags about what he's trying to do, how big he is, how many people he may know to get to come to you know, to complain against your videos. Just know that he is very small. Not because of his short physical stature, it's because of the way he thinks and how he conducts himself. So I'm going to make that short and sweet and leave on that note. If you have anything to say, you know, in response to that, feel free. I welcome all comments. Peace.